What if the Demon Slayer Corps' greatest protectors became its deadliest threat? Today, let's dive into an alternate reality exploring what would happen if all 9 of the present-day Hashira from Demon Slayer transform into Upper Moon demons. We already know from Kokushibo and Kaigaku that demon slayers who transform into demons gain blood demon arts based on their breathing styles, amplifying their techniques with supernatural abilities. So let's apply that same logic to every single Hashira and see how they'd stack up against the original Upper Moons. Let's start off with the insect Hashira Shinobu Kocho, as we know she's the physically weakest member among the Demon Slayer elite. Shinobu's blood demon art would be the ultimate evolution of her poison mastery, allowing her to generate and manipulate any poison imaginable directly from her blood. As the insect Hashira, Shinobu would likely take on the appearance similar to a demonic butterfly, being both deadly and beautiful at the same time, but her personality is where Shinobu becomes truly terrifying. That gentle, smiling facade she maintained as a human would become genuine psychopathy, and the anger she suppressed about her sister's death would transform into sadistic pleasure in making others suffer. Shinobu would view poison as art, experimenting on victims to perfect new toxins, and her medical curiosity would manifest as experiments testing how much pain a person could endure. As a human, Shinobu's physical weakness was crippling against Upper Moons. However, being a demon would cover those deficiencies, placing her somewhere above Kaigaku in terms of power. Next up, it's the Serpent Hashira Obanai Iguro, and while his battle feats are limited, what we do see is incredibly impressive. Just like Shinobu, Obanai had a major physical limitation because of his poor eyesight and small stature, but he overcame that through sheer technique. Transforming into a demon would help Obanai cover up those drawbacks, while also giving him the opportunity to develop a blood demon art that's truly terrifying. Obanai's traumatic past with the serpent demon would grant him a blood demon art that allows him to conjure and control serpents, utilizing them on the battlefield in a variety of ways. Obanai could also develop a technique to shed his skin like a snake, allowing him to escape fatal attacks or leave behind decoys. As a demon, Obanai's self-loathing and obsessive nature would intensify horrifically, and he'd project his own feelings of impurity onto humans, seeing them all as beings that need to be cleansed. Following Obanai, we've got none other than Mitsuri Kanroji, the Love Hashira. Unlike the previous 2 Hashira I covered, Mitsuri actually has a physical advantage, as her muscle fibers are 8 times denser than that of the average human being, but this wouldn't actually make her significantly stronger as a demon, since demons have supernatural strength anyway, and their opponents are typically humans that are much weaker. Mitsuri's real strength is in the blood demon art she would develop as the Love Hashira, as she would manipulate emotions and create physical manifestations of affection that kill. And this is where things would get really disturbing, because Mitsuri's desire for acceptance would corrupt into a need to be loved by everyone, even if they won't love her willingly. Somewhat similar to the Lower Moon 5 Rui, Mitsuri would keep her victims alive and obsessed, creating a family of mind-controlled humans who worship her. In terms of strength, Mitsuri would rank pretty solidly above Daki and Kyutaro, and while she might not have the most destructive blood demon art, her raw physical stats make her an overwhelming force. Next on the list is the youngest Hashira and the only one to defeat an Upper Moon solo, Muichiro Tokito. This kid went from picking up a sword to becoming a Hashira in 2 months, so just imagine what he'd become as a demon. As the Mist Hashira, Muichiro's blood demon art would create a supernatural mist that erases sensory information entirely. This sort of ties into Muichiro's own struggles with his memory, and anyone caught in his mist would lose their sense of direction, time, and even the purpose of the battle. Muichiro could also create perfect illusions within the mist that are indistinguishable from reality, or rapidly move the mist droplets to injure and wear down opponents. As a demon, Muichiro's emotional detachment would become absolute, and that blank expression would never change, even while he's tearing you apart. He'd view killing as just another task, executing demon slayers with the same mechanical efficiency as he did demons. Muichiro defeated defeated Gyoko after awakening his mark, showing he's capable of handling Upper Moon 5 level threats. His genetic heritage also gives Muichiro incredible potential, so he would definitely be above Gyoko and probably on the same level as Tengen in terms of power, but with a ton of space for growth. The sound Hashira, Tengen Uzui, comes in at the middle of the pack, as he's the first Hashira to actually survive a battle against an Upper Moon. What's really interesting here is Tengen's past as a shinobi. Because he possesses a ton of stealth and surveillance skills that other demon slayers haven't mastered, Tengen's blood demon art would be absolutely brutal, and he'd weaponize sound and vibration to create destructive sound waves that could be used to damage or disorient enemies. Tengen's musical score technique was already overpowered, but if he becomes a demon, it would evolve into something truly terrifying. Instead of just reading opponents' basic attack patterns, his blood demon art would allow him to predict entire battle sequences, and fighting him would be like battling someone who's already seen how you die. Tengen's flashy personality would become monstrous, as he would try to be flamboyant by creating elaborate and theatrical deaths for his victims. In a way, he'd be just like Gyoko, as he'd see himself as an artist, and every kill would be a performance. Next up, I've got everyone's favorite flame Hashira, Kyojuro Rengoku. Now, before you flame me in the comments, hear me out. Rengoku faced Akaza before we even knew about Demon Slayer marks, and still managed to hold off the Upper Moon 3 until dawn in a solo battle. As an Upper Moon, Rengoku's blood demon art would mirror his indomitable will, letting him generate flames that literally never extinguish. The signature move of his family, flame-breathing ninth form, Rengoku, would evolve into a massive area of effect attack that burns everything in its path. Rengoku's unwavering sense of duty would twist into an obsessive devotion to Muzan, and he'd rationalize every kill as necessary, believing he's creating a world without suffering by eliminating those who resist demonkind. Even the Hashira looked up to Rengoku when he was alive, and as an Upper Moon, he would definitely surpass the likes of Akaza in strength. And now all that's left is the confirmed top 3 strongest Hashira in the series, so let's start off with the water Hashira, Tomioka Giyu. Giyu is already incredibly talented, as the Dead Calm technique could even negate 12 Kizuki abilities, but as an Upper Moon, it would evolve into reality-breaking levels. His blood demon art would create spheres of absolute stillness where attacks freeze midair and opponents struggle to even move. True to the principles of water breathing, Giyu's fighting style would focus on reflecting and redirecting attacks, turning the opponent's strength against them. His emotional isolation would become complete detachment, his survivor's guilt would transform into nihilism, and Giyu would see death as inevitable and meaningless, making him impossible to reason with. Giyu stalemated Sanemi in sparring, but more importantly, he lasted longer against Akaza one-on-one than any other Demon Slayer. So, as an Upper Moon, I'd place Giyu at a level equal to or slightly below Doma. Next up is the Wind Hashira, Sanemi Shinazugawa, and this man was already violence personified when he was just a human. Sanemi's wind breathing would evolve into complete control over air pressure and atmospheric phenomena. He could create localized tornadoes, generate areas of air pressure that suffocate opponents or implode their lungs, or create wind blades that cover entire battlefields simultaneously. Defensively, he could create barriers of compressed air to deflect attacks, but knowing Sanemi, he probably wouldn't even believe in defense if he had the regenerative powers of an Upper Moon. Sanemi's personality would be genuinely horrifying, as he'd evolve into a berserker demon who lives for combat and carnage. Sanemi fought Kokushibo alongside Gyomei and survived, which is a feat almost no one can claim. As an Upper Moon demon, I'd place him at a tier above Doma, but not yet at the same level as Kokushibo. And the number 1 strongest Hashira, who would be absolutely terrifying as an Upper Moon, is none other than the Stone Hashira, Gyomei Himejima. Unlike Sanemi, Gyomei would be perfectly in control of everything, from his emotions to his blood demon art. He would have absolute control over earth and stone, allowing him to terraform entire landscapes to suit his fighting style. His flail and axe were already made of unimaginably heavy iron, but once Gyomei becomes a demon, they'd become part of his body, able to extend and reshape at will. In the event that he faces a particularly tough group of opponents, Gyomei could encase himself in impenetrable stone armor or turn the ground into quicksand to trap his adversaries. Gyomei's unwavering faith would give him the personality of a mad monk, and he'd believe he'd become a demon as punishment from Buddha for his sins. This makes Gyomei especially dangerous because unlike other demons, he would have no internal conflict. At this time, Gyomei still lacks the sheer refinement of Kokushibo's swordsmanship, so he would still rank below the Upper Moon 1. However, Kokushibo himself acknowledged that Gyomei possessed a body so refined he'd never see its equal in 3 centuries, meaning that given enough time to train, Gyomei could surpass Kokushibo's strength. So, there you have it. All the Hashira transformed into Upper Moon demons. Would you rank any of them differently? As always, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss another incredible Demon Slayer video.